Howdy, High Tides. I'm Jed Hoffman with BFN News. Some say that democracy is the heart of a country, and that without eminent domain or due process, you can't really have a constitution. They say society emulates the path to a brighter future. What I'm trying to say here is that you have to be informed about what's going on in your country. So for this week's episode of BFN News, we're not doing any ordinary episode, but in fact, it's an election special. With the presidential election coming up in just a few weeks, you should know where to vote, when to vote, how to vote, and why to vote.
Voting is defined as the use to express a wish to follow a particular course of action. Voting is a right that was given to us in the U.S. Constitution in the 15th and 19th Amendments. Election Day is November 3rd. In Florida, you can pre-register to vote at 16 years old or register to vote at 18. Through the years, we have seen so many terrible situations. These include school shootings, the deaths of so many black individuals at the hands of cops, and so much more. Remember that a whole generation of children and adolescents is depending on your vote to ensure that they are in the right environment and conditions to succeed. Make sure to vote. The decision is in your hands.
Now, it's time to talk about democracy and how it affects the nation of our people. Here's a controversial piece by Javier about the Supreme Court.
President Trump has nominated Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court after a seat was left open after the passing of RGB. Now that the president has nominated her, it is now up to the Senate to vote to confirm her. And that confirmation will most likely happen as the majority of the Senate do want to confirm her, as she does pass all the qualifications to become a new Supreme Court judge. But there is a lot of controversy surrounding this entire situation, as the Democrats intend to vote no on her due to the fact that they are in fear of Roe v. Wade being overturned and leaving abortions up to the states. But the Democrats' claims are inaccurate, as the judge can't be biased. They can't come out and say they're pro-guns, pro-life, or pro-choice. They can't. But many Democratic leaders are calling for the entire process of her confirmation to be stopped, as they call it illegal and unconstitutional, even though Trump and the Senate are in their right to confirm a new judge to the Supreme Court. Even the host of CNN, Jake Tapper, had to tell the Joe Biden campaign director that what they were spreading was just a false narrative.
But he said it's not constitutional what they're doing. How is it not constitutional what they're doing?
His point is that the people have an opportunity to weigh in on this constitutional process through their vote. And we are now in the midst of the election. Millions of people have already cast their votes. And you see that the vast majority of people say that they want the person who wins the election on November 3rd to nominate the justice.
That's
to
a poll.
Take this
That's
seat.
not the Constitution.
So there's the constitutional process of advise and consent. The American people get to have their say by voting for president, by voting for senators. We are now 23 days from the election.
Right, but it's not
Again,
unconstitutional.
Millions of votes. Voters are being denied their constitutional right to have a say in this process.
They
when
elected the
Republicans
Senate.
are trying to ram through a nominee who, by the way, is going to change the makeup of the court. And we see time and time again, poll after poll shows that most Americans vehemently disagree with this. They believe
Kate, that's
that
a
the
poll.
vote should happen on November 3rd.
That's not what the word constitutional means. Constitutional
that is
doesn't mean I like it or I don't like it. It means it's according to the U.S. Constitution. There's nothing unconstitutional about what the U.S. Senate is doing.
The reaction to Trump's nominee can be described as a circus, and that opinion is shared mostly by Republicans and even comedians.
Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator Hirono.
But you condemn white supremacy, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure that she is a member of the KKK with her 2 adopted black children, and the role of the court to be what the role of the court was at the founding. Namely, not a super legislature, not a group of people who get to insert their own morality into the Constitution of the United States. The role of the judiciary is instead to interpret the law as written. If you want to make a political change, you do that in the political branches, namely through the legislature or through the executive. But the unelected branch of government, the judiciary, is just there to ensure that the law as it is written is actually applied. That's what a judge is there to do. Amy Coney Barrett understands this extremely well.
As Amy is expected to be the new Supreme Court judge, there are people looking forward to it. And that would be women empowering women due to the fact that this is a woman taking a seat in the highest court of the land. This is a woman having power. When a senator asked Amy, "What advice would you give to little girls?" she responded, "Anything boys can do, girls can do better."
If you spend a lot of time surfing the web, you might have seen an advertisement paid for by the Lincoln Project. But what's the deal with that? Check in with The Scoop by Henry.
What's up, High Tides? Now, I'm sure you've all been wondering, what is the Lincoln Project? Fascinating, isn't it? Named after President Abraham Lincoln, the Lincoln Project was created to stop Donald Trump from being re-elected in 2020. It was created by George Conway, Rick Wilson, John Weaver, Steve Schmidt, Louis C.K., and Reed Galen. Okay. Yeah, that one wasn't true. And not only did they create this group, they're pretty accomplished as well. They have millions of followers on Twitter. They've worked with people such as George W. Bush, John McCain, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. This guy even published a book called Everything Trump Touches Dies. Yeah, I think we've identified these people's political positions. Or have we? As it turns out, these people are all Republicans. Wait a minute. Okay, who let Louis back in? Shoo, get out. Now, I know you're asking yourself, why are these Republicans so adamant to throwing Trump out of the White House? The answer is simple. To save the Constitution. They believe that he has ruled the country unconstitutionally, and that defeating Trump and Trumpism in the 2020 elections is the only way to save our failing political system. And to be honest, it makes sense for their group to be named after Lincoln. Like them, he was a Republican, and he spent his entire life trying to protect the Union. Alright, High Tides. See you guys later.
Like most elections, this episode has come to an end. But before we leave you, let's check in on second opinions. Last week, we asked you, the viewers, do you believe in astrology? And the results are in, and it's another 60-40 split. This is the third straight week where 60% of you went one way and 40% of you went another. 60% of you guys believe in astrology. That's so Aquarius of you guys. For this week's question, we're keeping it short and sweet. Trump or Biden? To answer this question, scan that QR code or check out the link in the description to answer the question. There's still time to enter your videos for HAMF, the Horror Amateur Mini Film Festival. Remember, send in 1 to 4 minute videos by October 26th to enter HAMF. And that's all, folks. For Beach Film News, I've been Jed Hoffman. You've been you. Bye-bye.